Today, I want to tell you a little bit of a story about discipleship. Because discipleship is a phrase that a lot of people use in the local church, and they just kind of use it to cover any idea of what it means to do spiritual formation. But this idea of discipleship is actually very unique. It means something. So you might be wondering, okay, what does it mean? Well, of course, you could look at Jesus and his interactions with his disciples, and you could come to a lot of great conclusions about discipleship just from that. But for me, when I think about discipleship, I'm always drawn to this. Now, if you know what this is, you're probably from Michigan. And if you don't know what this is, you're going to, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be in heaven. This is what the Crystal Sea is made out of. This is Vernors ginger soda, not ginger ale. Okay, very different. This is a ginger soda. Well, this is from Michigan. You might be wondering, Dean, you're from Seattle, so how do you know about Vernors ginger ale, and how did you become addicted to it? Well, when I was 13 years old, I was mowing lawns because I was always trying to save up money to buy Jordan 20s. If you know, you know. Those Jordan 20s were just, they were so nice. And I wanted a pair so bad. I never got one. I always got up to like $70 when I was saving up money. And then I would, go to the movies with some friends or something and waste my money and never get those Jordan 20s. Someday I will. But I was always trying to do the odd job. So I was mowing lawns. I was, doing basically anything that I could get a little bit of cash out of. And I think it was my pastor's wife who knew that and sent me over to mow her dad's lawn. That would be Ed Perry. Ed Perry was a retired pastor, a retired Navy vet, and a great guy. Just literally the best. Because this man, in his 70s, he took a liking to me. I would mow his lawn every other Saturday, and he knew that I had said I wanted to go into pastoral ministry. And so every Saturday after I was done, I would call my dad to come and pick me up, and that usually took a long time. So Pastor Perry would give me one of these. He'd give me a Vernors, and we would sit at his dining room table together, and he'd bust out his Bible, and he would basically be like, "Ask me anything, Dean." And so I got to ask him things about the Bible, questions about pastoral ministry, and hear a lot of really fun stories about the Navy, and to be genuinely loved and cared for by someone who was older than me, that was in the faith, and who cared about my spiritual development. That's what discipleship looks like. He didn't have to. I was a snotty-nosed teenager that was consumed with basketball, and that's pretty much all I cared about. And I'm sure that I wasn't the most entertaining guest to have at his table. I wasn't the wittiest. I wasn't the smartest. So there wasn't anything that was like, oh, I gotta sit down and talk with this 13-year-old. And this continued for years throughout the summers. But every other week, he would give me like an hour of his time. He would turn off the game. He would come over, turn off the radio, whatever he was doing, and he would just sit and chat with me. And I'd be able to ask him all kinds of questions. I learned a lot from Pastor Perry, and I could never get around to calling him Ed. He wanted me to, but just couldn't do it. He was Pastor Perry. And so I'd be able to ask him about what it means to follow Jesus, pastoral ministry, what it meant to be a good husband, a good dad, and even a good grandfather someday. And he would take that time. And so that's what it looks like to do discipleship. It is pouring yourself into another person and to build a healthy, sustainable friendship between you and another person that has Jesus at the center, but is all-consuming. Pastor Perry cared what happened in my life. He cared about my home situation. He would ask me questions about what I was doing at school, how was basketball going, all these things. And he was genuinely interested. Now, a couple years ago, I lost Pastor Perry. Someday we're gonna share some of these in glory. But I hope that you have someone like that. And maybe, just maybe, you have someone in your life. You have a 13-year-old kid who needs to understand what it means to follow Jesus, who wants to know. Or maybe, someone who is at work with you, maybe a friend of the family. Where are those situations? Pastor Perry was looking for it. He wanted to invest in me. So who are you going to invest in? Are you looking for them? They might be right in front of you. So that's what it means to do discipleship. Let me know in the comment section if you've ever had one of these. They're just literally the best. But I'll see you in the next video.